If people know or are aware that I'm going into an event or something like that and they go, oh, I could never do that, I usually say to them, yes, you can. It's just a matter of starting somewhere. It doesn't have to be a lot. You can ride a bike, you can walk, you can meet somebody down the street, but you walk to catch up with them. It's encouraging them to actually start, because it's too easy to say I can't, but the reality is there is ways of getting going.
It's an honour to bring this interview with two incredible women, Lyn Peake and Marlene Norton-Baker, who prove that age is just a number. These champions have competed and won on national and world stages. They've broken records and they pushed their limits well into their 70s. They are both still going strong, sprinting and challenging themselves in other events such as long distance running. In this episode, Lyn and Marlene share their secrets to staying fit, strong and youthful. They give you their mindset, training and lifestyle strategies that they have been using most of their life to achieve the success that they have. The advice is simple and you can start implementing it today. If you think you're too old, Lyn and Marlene share tools to help you train and compete at any age. They believe you are never too old. They are both my role models and inspiration to keep me moving for life, and I hope to be as strong and as fit as they are at their age. Welcome to the D8 Training Podcast, Lyn and Marlene. What I love is that you're in your 70s and you're still going strong, still dominating the sprinting circuit. So how many races have you run and participated in?
Thanks. I've run many races, but I started as far back as 1965, so that puts me at school, really. So, I couldn't give you an actual time or date. So,
There, wow. So how many years is that? 50, 60 years of running.
Can we move on to the next question?
What about yourself, Lyn? How many have you ran?
I honestly can't remember either. I started probably when I was in my mid-40s. My ex-husband was a marathon runner, so he was out hitting the pavement every day because he'd have to average about 150 k's a week. So I was home on my own a lot, so I decided one day, okay, I'm going to join him. So I started off doing the long distance running. I actually started the opposite, where I was doing half marathons, did a marathon. Someone approached me one day when I was at one of the Masters Games and said, you look like you might be a better sprinter than a long distance runner, so I changed. It's why now I do sprinting and the long distances in the past, but I've probably run several hundred races by now.
Oh, wow. That's quite a few races. And do you know how many records you've broken and events you've run?
Records, probably my best year was when I turned 65, believe it or not. I think I broke 18 Australian records that year.
18?
18. Ask yourself how come you do that when I only run a certain amount of distances, but I'd break the record one week and then I'd come out the following week and I'd break the same one again.
So you're breaking your own record?
So I was breaking my own record sometimes 4 times a year.
Which records were they?
Probably the most memorable was the 100 metres when I broke Ann Cooper, who's one of Australia's running icons. I think she'd held it for something like 15 to 18 years. Reader record, hers was 14.8 and I ran 14.6.
And that's a good amount, 0.2 seconds.
Yes, no, I was thrilled with that one.
What about yourself, Marlene?
I don't have records as such, but I can emulate with Lyn's with regards to the 100 metres, and I became the Australian national champion for the 100 metres at one of the nationals in Sydney, and it was such a close race. It was like, I don't know whether I've done it or not, but when it was said that I had won it, it still stays with me. It's just a fine time that you've achieved something, and no other sort of Pacific records, but just can remember that one pretty clearly.
So was that like a camera finish where you're running in and then they had to have a look to see?
Yes, they took a moment or two to work out who really did cross the line first.
Congratulations on that. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Would you consider that to be your proudest achievement in athletics?
I think so. My athletics involves a lot of different formats, and that's everything from sort of having a go at different things. Ultra marathons is one, trail running is another, 10K runs. I mix it up. I kind of challenge myself to different events. When you finish them, there's such a sense of achievement having finished them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a record. It's just the fact that I've challenged myself, I've achieved it, I worked for it.
What motivates you to do the next event and keep going?
Lyn.
I need a friend like Lyn.
It's really, really important to have a buddy. I've looked at moments before coming here where I think having a buddy is good. And Lyn and I have, from time to time, she's been my nemesis as far as running is concerned. But if you have somebody around you who's as motivated, who loves a challenge, never gives in, it helps. It sticks. And actually feel part of, let's go and do it. Let's have a try. You work to a program and achieve.
Do you compete against each other and try to beat each other?
Yeah, we used to do that, being in a similar age group. Even in training, it's still there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about yourself, Lyn? What was your proudest achievement?
I've probably got a couple. The one I've already mentioned, breaking the 100 record, probably winning my first individual world medal was probably my second most memorable, and I did that in Porto Alegre in Brazil. Another one was at the Australian Nationals. They always have a Champion of Champions race, which is for 100-metre sprinters. They have one for men and one for women, so they pick the highest age grading percentage winners of 8 men and 8 women, and they line you up and they handicap you according to your age. I won it twice, so the first one of those that I won was a big thrill.
You're a bit of an overachiever there.
I guess the other one was 4x4 women's 65 relay team. We broke the world record by 11 seconds. We absolutely smashed it.
11 seconds?
Yeah. There's a lot of people saying that will probably never ever get broken. We were very fortunate to have had 4 Australian women all in the same age group, probably all in the top 5 in the world running at the time. We could have done a lot better had we have turned up for that race just specifically, but one girl had just finished running an 800 in a pentathlon. I was at a time of my life when I was a bit flat, so I wasn't feeling all that flash either, and we still managed to achieve it, so that
and
was
in
great.
11 seconds. You always want more, hey? You're like, I could have done more.
It's like when you run a time and you think, well, if you'd have run half a second faster, you would have broken a record. Now, where could I have picked that up? So you always dissect your race afterwards and think, how could I have done better? Where could I have improved?
What motivates you to keep going and keep racing and trying to break these records?
Probably several things. It's the group we train with. We're very fortunate to have a group of people that are all self-motivated. We're all different ages, different levels, doing different things. So it's the group camaraderie. Plus you feel good when you're fit. I think if you exercise, watch your diet, get enough sleep, it's not always possible to do all these things either. But yeah, I think probably the main thing is being with other people. As Marlene has said, we self-motivate each other, but your other colleague will always help you. Like I can always remember when I first started running long distance, we'd run a 30k of a Sunday morning and you're about 5k from home and you feel stuffed and you think, I'd really like to walk, but the person beside you is still jogging and you think, well, if she's still jogging, I have to. And I can't stop. And the funny thing is afterwards when you're discussing it, she's thinking the same thing. I'd really like to walk, but because she's not, I'll keep running too. So, but it's pushing the boundaries as well. You've got to push yourself that little bit.
Definitely. And I know I train better and I train harder when I've got someone next to me and I'm trying to beat them or outdo them. And the only person I'm benefiting is myself. So if I lift more, run more, they don't care. But at least I'm doing more and then they feel inspired to do more. So how often do you train?
We train 3 times a week. Depending on the time of the year. In summer, we'll do a competition maybe once a week, be that either Masters or ASA, or I run pro as well. We've got to juggle it a little bit so that we don't overdo things. So, 4 days, and then, of course, in between, we do the weights.
3 running training sessions, a competition, and twice a week weight training. So that's 6 times a week. You're the same, Marlene, as well?
Yes, that's right. But I just want to add, I think since Lyn and I have included strength training, there's considerable notice and difference in regards to how we feel and how we are just within ourselves. And so those 2 sessions that we both do, and then those 3 times training, I've already seen myself. There's a difference in the ability to be able to run longer, run faster, my core strength is good. I can see a real improvement as a result of taking that up. I think it's important. It's a balance in everything that we are putting together. And it's about longevity. You want to keep doing what you're doing. I like what I do, but if I've got to look after what I am and how I'm doing it, so it's a balance of things. So you talk about diet, you talk about maybe that odd glass of bubbles.
It's that 80-20 rule, isn't
it?
Yeah, 80% of the time, if you're sleeping well, eating well,
yes,
we can enjoy life 20% of the time.
But with that comes some confidence.
Drinking the bubbles or training?
I'll get back to you on that one. But it's about, there's a confidence, and with confidence comes positiveness. And then when you are out there running, you feel all that and more. So I think it's a great mix of what we both do.
And you look fantastic as well. For the listeners, check out the photos, and there's some up on Instagram. I'm going to have a blog on the D8 website. They look amazing. I know when my son saw them, he guessed that they were in their 50s.
Bless his heart.
He's your new best friend, hey?
That wasn't what I thought when I saw him stand beside me and then meet me.
I know that he meant it, because when it was my sister-in-law's 50th birthday, he goes, "So how old are you?" And she goes, 50. He goes, "Oh, you don't look 50. She goes, "Do I look older or younger?" And he goes, "Older." I'm mortified. It's my sister-in-law, but she was a good sport. She's amazing. But at least you know they're honest. So how do you approach recovery and injury prevention?
I don't like being injured, and it's a bother to me, and I feel a bit annoyed that it's actually happened. So I need to go back to basics, and I need to look at what am I really doing as far as maintenance is concerned. Is there that regular massage taking place? I'm not bulletproof, but sometimes you do go on as if you are. The reality is, no matter how old you are, it's about a balance of how we look after ourselves. And it goes back to food, it goes back to what we drink and how we do things. So I don't like being injured. It takes the time away from the things that I want to do.
You mentioned maintenance, so you do massage, food. Mm-hmm. Is there any other maintenance?
What do you do, Lyn?
See a chiropractor, and a lot of people don't believe in it, but I believe that every part of your body needs to be maintained. It's like servicing your car. Physio, definitely massage, your nutrition. I've had quite a few injuries in the last 3 years, and I believe a lot of it comes down to, you've got to listen to your body, because your body will give you some warning signs in a lot of instances, and if you ignore them, you'll pay the consequences. My biggest failing is I don't hydrate enough. I don't like drinking water. I can remember seeing a coach, Ronnie Burns' daughter, that won at the Olympics a gold medal, and her coach said he carries a 2-litre bottle of water around with him. He said, "I'll fill it up every morning and I make sure I drink that by the end of the day." And I listened to a guy on a podcast the other day interviewing one of our politicians. He said the first thing he does when he gets up in the morning is drink a litre of water. Some days I can go and not even drink half a cup. I keep getting bashed around the head saying you must drink more water, and I'm sure I've almost convinced myself that that's the reason why I tore a hammy 2 weeks ago. So I'm like Marlene, you get injured, we get frustrated because we hate not being able to go out and do what we're doing.
Hydration is important. That's one habit I've got every morning, about 600, 700 mils of water with lemon and a bit of salt. Do you have hydrolytes?
Yes, and I have my protein shake at least once a day, and that's got all sorts of goodies.
Do tell us, we want to know. I want to look as amazing as you. Tell us your secrets, what's in there.
I've got some spinach, fresh ginger, fresh squeezed lemon juice. It's got vitamin C powder. It's got creatine to help promote muscle recovery.
And it's good for brain fog. I've just started taking in the last month creatine, and I've noticed my brain fog, because I used to walk into the other room and I'm like, oh, why am I in here? I'd forget. Whereas I'm noticing it's starting to work, and I'm remembering a lot more.
Yeah, ginseng is good as well.
Ginkgo biloba. I used to take that years ago. It's funny you go through fads where you hear of all these things as good food. The trouble is you can't take all of them.
So what does your diet or nutrition look like on a daily basis?
I have good days and I have bad days.
So you're human. I actually thought you were Superwoman.
No way. In fact, you'd be shocked. There's a lady that runs for Queensland and she's broken numerous world records and Australian records, Marge Ellison. I've been overseas at world champs and we'll go out and have dinner the night before and she will, on her own, drink a whole bottle of red wine and she'll come out the next morning and break a world record. So it proved to me that you can still have your enjoyments in life, you can still have your glass of wine and it's not going to really affect you that much.
Fans, I should have had that wine last night. Nevin and I went out for dinner and he's like, do you want a wine? I'm like, I've got Marlene and Lyn on the podcast. I got to be present.
You should have invited us.
Yeah, we could have shared the bottle and done it there.
And a good day diet, quite often I'll have a smoothie, especially if I go to work, which isn't quite so much these days because I'm almost retired, but I'll have a smoothie for breakfast. If I don't, I'll have either scrambled egg or a poached egg. I try not to eat too much bread. I went through a stage in my life where I had a blood analysis and found that I had a lot of plaque in my blood, which is a nasty. So I cut out all wheat, sugar, dairy, processed food and alcohol for 3 months. It was a bit of a shock to the system, but I never felt better. So we don't need all those things in our diets. If you can cut out the sugar, cut out the processed food, eat healthy, natural food, there's still lots of stuff out there that you can just have. You can still have your roast and everything for dinner, can of tuna and the salad for lunch.
So lots of protein.
Yes, cut out the carbs. But I have a chronic sweet tooth. I love chocolates, I love biscuits, I love cakes, and it's really hard for me to say to someone, have a piece of birthday cake. No thanks, I'll leave it.
How do you say no thanks? Because that's my Achilles heel. Chocolate, I love chocolate and cake and ice cream.
The best way is, especially if you're home, chuck it out. If you haven't got it in the house, you won't eat it. We've got a crisper full of chocolates and Easter eggs. Now, some of those Easter eggs have been in that fridge now for 5 years. Oh, well. They're still there.
Don't eat chocolate at Lyn's place.
But that's the strengthening part. Look at it and think, no, Lyn, you're not going to eat it. You don't need it. Shut the fridge door and walk away. If it's on the bench, I'll go past a little bowl of chocolate Easter eggs. You bet I'll pick one up and I'll eat it. Bit of self-control.
Definitely. I'm with you. I need to throw everything out because if it's there, I'll eat it. If it's not, I won't eat it.
No.
Realised that my kids like sweets and I was almost depriving them of it and then they wanted it more, whereas now I'm like, okay, what's healthy versions we can do? Cookies with a few healthy, chopped chips, or last night we made mango sorbet with honey. So just mangoes and honey.
Yum.
What does your diet look like?
I'm pretty basic. I guess for, let's say, a normal day, I do work still 3 days a week, so I'm packing my lunch. My morning is probably a green smoothie.
What's in the green smoothie?
Well, I have celery, green apple, I have fresh ginger, I have black chia seeds, coconut water and spinach. And with ice, it's going to be nice and cold. And then I usually have a wrap for lunch, and that's got either your lettuce, tomato, some meat of some sort. And then of evening, it's just barbecue, maybe barbecue meat with salads, stir fry. I love stir fry. Try and keep it, I could work and still cook at the same time.
It sounds, again, lots of protein and unprocessed food. Can you keep sweets in the house and not eat them?
I'm not a sweet eater. No, cheese and biscuits, I'll kill anybody who's in front of that. I love my cheese and biscuits. I cannot get enough of that. But no, I'm not a sweet eater at all. Don't like it. Well, not that I don't like it, I just doesn't appeal to me.
Moving on to mindset and longevity. So you both are the same age as my grandmother, and my grandmother, her mindset is that she's just too old to do anything, that she needs to slow down. And that's probably been like that for the last 10, 15 years, maybe even longer. And I know that this isn't unique to her. I often hear from my parents, their friends, we're getting older, we can't do anything more. And you're both a testament to, yes, you can. What would you say to that, to people that are getting older and saying they can't do any more?
I come across that. If people know or are aware that I'm going into an event or something like that and they go, oh, I could never do that, I usually say to them, yes, you can. It's just a matter of starting somewhere. It doesn't have to be a lot. You can ride a bike, you can walk, you can meet somebody down the street, but you walk to catch up with them. It's encouraging them to actually start, because it's too easy to say I can't, but the reality is there is ways of getting going. But I like the idea of a buddy, somebody who says I'll meet you at 7 o'clock in the morning and let's go for a ride or for a run is motivating enough. You've got a commitment. I come across that where people say, oh, you know, you're lucky, or you can do this. But it's not without hard work. It's not without discipline. It's not without challenging myself. It's a little bit difficult sometimes to answer, but the reality is you encourage them every time. There's no such word as can't.
Definitely. And I like what you said about lucky. You've put in the hard yards. You train 6 times a week. There's a lot of work to it.
Yeah, there is, but that's my choice. But I find that I have benefits for that. I feel good. I know I'm feeling a whole lot fitter as a result of it. It makes me more positive in my own mind. I can do things much more easily. Just all round feeling good. And I think you generate that out to people as well. You look like you're having some fun at the same time and getting around and enjoying life as well.
What about yourself, Lyn? What would you say to people that are saying they're getting too old and they can't do that?
The first thing I would say is that age is not a barrier. It's all a way of thinking. I'm a great believer that beliefs are the commanders of our brain. Your beliefs control your destiny. So if you believe that you can go out and do something, you'll do it. I think it's all a mindset, and we can all find excuses if we want to find them, but you've just got to make yourself do it. I can remember training with John Bannon, the ex-Premier of South Australia. He was saying how when he became the Premier, he already got up at 7 o'clock in the morning, did stuff, went to Parliament, was falling asleep in the afternoon. Then he decided, OK, I'm going to get fit. I can't keep working, and I've now got a bigger workload. So he decided he'd take up long-distance running. How am I going to do it? I already have a full day. So he got up an hour earlier. He would run of a morning, and he found that the more he exercised, he got through a whole day a lot easier. Work was better, his brain functioned better. I myself find that it's a great stress relief to go out and exercise if things are getting on top of you, or kids are driving you crazy, or what other things happen in our lives. It helps get rid of all that, clears the brain fog.
I'm with you there. Like after a hard day of work and I'm frustrated, or the kids or hubby have done something, going into the gym, the weights don't talk back. I can go there, I can lift as much as I can, and it just reduces that stress. If you could go back and give advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Well, there's certain things I would definitely change, but as far as the fitness side of things is concerned...
Should I ask what those things you want to change?
No. I've always been sporty-minded. I rode horses for 30 years. I've done water skiing. I played tennis. And obviously I still do the running. I think I'd change too much.
What about yourself, Marlene? If you could go back and give advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Probably if I look at things that I'm doing now, if I did them a little earlier, as in some of the longer distance stuff, or knew about them, but no regrets. None, no regrets at all. I like what I've done. I have people who've challenged me and said, well, what about, let's go and have a go at this. And that's why those 2 ultra marathons came up. And people say, well, that's just crazy to do 50K. So I said, no, that's what I want to do, and I'm going to give it a go. And I had the best time, and it's such a sense of achievement. If I look at going, if I was younger, what would I do? I'm a bit like Lyn. I don't think I'd change too much. It's just that maybe I'd be a lot more aware of things earlier than what I have now.
I'm with you there, but then I sometimes wonder, would my younger self actually listen and start applying those things earlier, like, water in the morning, or, that consistent exercise routine?
Interesting you've brought in the nutrition part. We've just spoken about the sport. Yeah, I think if we ate a little differently when we were younger, it might have helped, hey? I don't know.
Absolutely. And I think if I'd have drunk more water, I wouldn't have so many wrinkles as I've got now. I was going back through some old photos this morning, and 5 years ago I didn't have all these. Where did they come from? Character lines, that's what I'm told. This is where it's important, I think, to go to all your health people along the way through your journey of life and exercise. My sister got bowel cancer last year, so I went to my doctor and said, well, should I go and have a colonoscopy? It's one of those things you don't want to have and you think, no, I'm never going to have one unless I have to have one, just to find out on the safe side because it might be in the family. So I went along, had one, found out I had 3 cancerous polyps. I was told don't eat seeds because that causes it, diverticulitis. And I had signs of that there as well, and yet I love my nuts and I was having all my seeds, my chia seeds, my blueberries and all that in my smoothies. I had to stop doing all that. So what you think yourself might be the right thing, if you go to the experts and have all your checks done, you might find that you can change the course of things a little bit.
Did you notice a difference when you stopped seeds? Like, did it make a difference?
Not really. I still chuck a few nuts in my mouth every now and then. If I feel hungry, I'll think I can either have a biscuit or I can eat a couple of almonds. So I'll still have a couple even though they're probably on the no-no list.
80-20.
Yeah, that's it.
So what's your secret to staying healthy, strong and youthful?
Exercise. Become a couch potato. I think everything goes down the gurgler. And you've got to set goals. The goals that you set get you off the couch. When I started running, I set all my goals. I wanted to run every possible thing associated with athletics. I've done the marathon, I've done the half, I've done the 60-metre sprint all the way up through the 1, 2, 3. I've done a 100K.
100 Ks?
Yes, we did what was called the Oxfam Trail Walk, which is 100 Ks, and came ninth overall out of 142 teams. I didn't think I could do it. It's that mindset once again. If you think it's possible, it'll happen. So there's only one thing on the bucket list now I haven't done, and that's the steeplechase.
What's a steeplechase?
It's over 3K, so it's about 15 jumps, and that includes a water jump as well. It's fairly gruelling. Oh, and I've done a pentathlon.
When's the plan to do that?
When I can't sprint anymore. I don't think the coach would let me do one right now.
I'll go to Marlene. What's your secret to staying healthy, strong and youthful?
I think I'm a little bit along the same response as Lyn. I think if you have a goal or you have something in mind and you aim for it, is to work as best you can to achieve that. I'm mindful of others around me as well, so if I can incorporate them. For example, my husband doesn't do a lot of running or doesn't get involved in running, but we've incorporated times away where I run and then make it a holiday. Generally, it's to stay active, keep doing things. I'm not one for sitting still. I like doing things. I like getting out. It's just movement.
I love that what you said about setting goals and having something to work towards because it will motivate you to keep going.
Absolutely.
You've spoken a bit about coaches. How have coaches helped you in achieving your goals?
When I was at high school, there really weren't coaches as such. So you run how you think you should run. And then I've now had a number of coaches and I just find them invaluable in being able to point out things, how you run, what you're doing, have you thought about this, have you thought about that? And that's just a nice thing for me. I love being told how I can correct myself to be better or do something different. I don't have any objection to that at all because I'm aiming for something that I want to achieve at the end of the day. So the coaches that I have had have all contributed to the things that I've ultimately been able to do. They're the ones that have had the experience, and I can't get enough of somebody sharing that experience with me, so I know I can run better and achieve what I like to do.
And it sounds like you've both built a team around you, so not just coaches, physios, chiros, like the recovery aspects as well. How have you found coaches, Lyn?
I'd have to say that I have to give all the accolades to having a coach. They know the right things to do. They can see you, what you're capable of doing, what you shouldn't be doing, guide you on the right and wrong, especially with us with sprinters. Sprinting is all about technique. I can remember when I got my first coach, which was Paul Townley, he said, okay, the first thing we're going to do is have to get your hips up. And I thought, what? And that's all part of sprinting. You've got to have what they call high hips, so it's all technique. And it's just repetition. You've just got to go out there and do it and do it and do it and do it so that it becomes natural. Without a coach, you don't learn, you don't know about technique. You think you're doing things right, but you're not. And it's the same as with Nevin out there in the classes. You think you're doing something right. Those little changes that correct you, that make you stronger, better, properly.
Definitely, I find the same thing. Or I won't be working as hard and I'm in the gym and Nevin's like, come on, go lower in that squat hold. You're like, oh, I can feel that now. Yeah. So what's your next upcoming competition or goal that you're working towards?
The Nationals coming up, which just happened to be in Adelaide this year.
What events are you doing for it?
The 61, maybe the 4. I don't like running 400s, but having said that, prior to COVID, I was the 400 world champion for my age group. I'd say to people, they'd say to you, doing the 400 today? I say, no. I said, why not? You're so good at it. I said, because I don't like it. I still don't like it, but I haven't really trained for it much either. And of course the relays, I love relays.
Can I ask with the 400, is there a point when you do the 400 where you don't feel sick at the end of it? I find I'm getting better and better at it, but I still feel halfway that I can't keep going, and then I get to the end and I'm so out of breath.
No, we all feel the same. Everyone will tell you 400 is the worst distance to run. It hurts. You'd be lying if you said to people that it doesn't hurt. Different people have ways of running a 400. I've got my own way of running it.
What's your secret? Tell me.
Oh, I don't think it's a secret. Some people will go out hard and then back off a little bit, hold it and then come home strong. I don't like going out hard. I'll build up to what I believe is a percentage that I can hold for most of the race. And then as you're coming around the bend for the last 100 metres, you just give it everything you've got. The last 50 metres, you'll feel like you're going up and down on the spot. You'll feel like your legs aren't moving. The lactic's killing you. You can't breathe. We all feel the same way. And yet when people watch you, they all say, but you look like you ran so easy. It's not.
I find it tough. And then my son bet me. I was gutted.
We've all been there when that child has gone past you and you think,
What about yourself, Marlene? What competitions or goals are you working towards?
Right. Well, I do have in the beginning of March, I'm actually off to Hobart and there's an event. It's a 10-kilometre run and it's called Run the Bridge. You start one side and you make your way over through to Salamanca, the side of Hobart. So that's for 10 Ks. Yeah, I just saw the event. Hadn't been to Hobart.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I have a couple of days before and a couple of days after. John and I will go over. So that's in March. Then, like Lyn, I've got the Nationals here in Adelaide.
Which events are you doing for that?
Well, I've picked the 200 and the pentathlon. Now, the pentathlon's got a couple of running events in it. That's the 100 and the 800. And then you've got a couple of field events as well.
So it's 100, 800, long jump,
javelin, shot put. That's it. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Yeah.
Not the 800.
And then Lyn and I are talking about going to the World Games in South Korea.
When's that?
September 2026, Daegu, South Korea.
So all these World Games and events that you go to, are they self-funded or can you get sponsorship for them as well?
No, they're not self-funded.
Even if you're representing Australia? We're going to have to do something about that. I think the Olympians get
I think so. I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
Get some sponsorship, yes.
100%, because you guys will be more of a motivation for people to be able to show them what you can keep doing. We've got to look into this. Any final words of encouragement for those who might be hesitant to get started?
It's like when I first started running, I would run to the deli, which was probably 200 metres up the road. I'd get there and I'd be absolutely stuffed. I'd have to sit down on a wall and have a breath and make my way home again. And that's when my ex-husband, who was the marathon runner, said to me, let's go out together. And off we went. And he said, whoa. Slow down. Do it slow. And I think a lot of people will feel the same way. They go out to run and doing it by yourself often puts a lot of people off as well. So I would say find someone to do something with. Start off slow. When I went to Perth, I took my sister-in-law for a run. She said, I really don't want to go running with you. She said, you're going to kill me. I said, no, I won't. So we did what we call a fartlek. I said, okay, we're going to run. And we ended up running 6K. I said, we're going to run to our watch. We're going to run 30 seconds and we'll walk 30 seconds and you pick the pace. We just did it slow. We'd walk 30, around 30. We were going up hills, we were going down hills. And when we finished, she said, I never thought I'd be able to do that. She went out by herself. She'd try running around the block. She'd get puffed halfway through. Felt awful. This isn't for me. I don't like it. And we'd give up. But if you do things slowly and got someone with you, someone who can give you a little bit of advice, you'll enjoy it a lot more.
I never thought to slow it down either, because I was always thought you got to go as hard as possible.
I agree. I don't think it's ever too late. It's a matter of making a start, and it doesn't matter what that looks like, but if you have something that is of particular interest, find out about it, and somebody that might be of interest to go with you, but it's never too late, and there's no such word as can't. I'm determined. I'm like Lyn. We're determined people. We also enjoy what we're doing. We've got some really good results as a result of what we're doing. We're blessed that we are able to do what we are still able to do. That's come about because of determination, being around people who are like-minded. It's invaluable, and I get a lot of support from John at home as well. That makes a difference as well. It's a matter of continuing to be able to enjoy what I'm doing as best I can.
There's a little bit of competitiveness thrown in there as well.
Who's more competitive, Marlene or Lyn?
There's a lot of pointing going on here. Can you say that?
I can say it. So I wish I had a camera so all the listeners can do it. Both pointing at each other.
Yeah.
Lucky last question. What does dominate mean to you?
I think it's probably one of the best things I've done, where I am in what I'm trying to do. I believe that the body needs to have lots of things to take care of it, and strength is a big one, and the ability to be able to pick up that heavy load or unscrew the lid of a jar. It's the ability to be able to continue to do that. And coming to the classes here, I know I feel different. I actually look different. I'm benefiting by the fact you look at, it's only a minute on every exercise. It's working. It's so effective in how I feel, and just overall strength and core strength has helped me not only to be able to do day-to-day things, but to be able to continue doing my running as well.
You mentioned you look different. What differences do you see in the look?
I just find that...
We're laughing because Stephen asked what we wanted to achieve out the class.
Yes.
And we told him we wanted to get ripped.
You can do it. Well, you can definitely see on both of you. You've got tone and definition in your arms.
Yeah. That was one of the criteria, wasn't it? Amazing abs and chiselled.
I have to say that when Marlene and I were over in Sweden at the World Champs, I have a lady in my age group, Carla Dilgran, champion athlete. Google her. She's amazing. She's from Canada. She's 4 years younger than me, but too often she just happens to pop up into my age group. I have never beaten her. I probably never will. Every time she sets foot on the racetrack, she breaks another world record. She's just broke one again last week. Lovely lady. I was talking to her. She's given me her training program, and she says she does a core class once a week. And I said to Marlene, there's something missing in our training. A lady asked her when she was up on the dais, how come you can stand on one foot and change your shoe and not fall over? And it's all about balance, which as you get older you tend to lose. And she said that it's because of this core strength training she does. So I said to Marlene, okay, when we get back home, we have to do something about that. So that's when I went through my phone and up came your advert that I saw. So I said to Marlene, this sounds good, what do you think? And we sort of hummed and hawed. So I contacted Neville, and of course the rest is history. Thoroughly enjoy the class, and I have to say that I will put it down to the fact that I won 2 sashes at the base Sheffield this year was because of the training that I have done previously. I felt so much stronger. I didn't feel like I was fading at the end of my races, which I was doing before. You just feel so different, and definitely improved my running.
So everyone come to D8 training and you'll notice a difference doing the strength work. Now, if our listeners want to follow you both and your journey, how can they connect with you?
Good question. We run with our group, we run with Masters. They can contact us through the South Australian Masters.
You two are amazing. I don't know if I can say this, I've done a few, but you're my favourite episode. Don't tell Nevin.
I've seen some of his.
Yeah, like I've learnt so much, and just what you've said, like it's your consistency, you're continuing on training, eating well and sleeping, the whole lifestyle factors, and getting that accountability partner. Like it's fairly basic, but making sure that you continually do that. So thank you both so much for coming onto the show. Like I said, it's definitely been one of my favourite, and I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Thank you.